I've been a graphic designer for the last 8 years, and I've worked on over 200 logo and website design projects. And let me tell you, I have learned lots of hard truths, and I've gone through lots of highs and lows in my business. And that is why in this video, I want to share with you 3 tips to not do if you want to become a graphic designer. Number 1 is to not forget the importance of versatility in your designs. So what does that actually mean? You want to make sure that your logos and that your website designs are recognizable, memorable, scalable, and that they look good in all different formats and sizes. So to pay attention to this, the first thing that you can do is to make sure that your typography and your typefaces are really easy to read. I have gone through this myself with my clients where I find a beautiful font, whether it's a script font or maybe like a modern serif font with like really thin lines that is just so beautiful. And when I go to put it in a logo, it looks great to me at first when I zoom in it on Illustrator. But when I actually zoom it out and see what it would look like in a smaller form, it's way harder to read and doesn't really look good on all formats. So definitely pay attention to your typography and make sure that you find something that can still be really fun and unique and have some personality to it, but that also can be scaled up or down and still look amazing. The second thing that you can pay attention to is the colors. As I've talked about in many videos before, having a good color contrast can really make or break a design. And this can go into like the accessibility and making sure that your websites are easy to read for even the disabled, and this is actually becoming a requirement for lots of websites. So it's important to make sure that you also apply that to the branding because we want our branding and our website to look consistent together. So definitely make sure that your colors are easy to read. You can actually use a couple websites that I have found in the past to put your colors in there and it'll actually spit out an answer and tell you if it is good or not and if it'll actually pass an accessibility test. So definitely check those out, but also just keep that in mind when designing that you want to make sure that your logo is going to look good on all of the different colors in the branding. The color combos look nice together, that they complement each other, and that it, at the end of the day, is versatile. Not that it's something that they can use on the website, on social media, on signage, on print, on whatever it is they're going to be using their branding on, and also the overall website. Just make sure that the colors are easy on the eye and also that are easy to read. And the other thing I wanted to mention about design versatility is also creating variations of the logo. This is why I like to create a primary logo, a secondary logo, and a submark logo. I know I've shown you guys this a lot in my previous videos, but creating those variations just gives my clients the option to use any of the logos, have that and still have that like recognizable look to it and the overall branding and that mark that really speaks to the overall brand. Having those different variations gives them those options to use it on different formats. So definitely make sure you're providing those. And I always like to provide a simple submark because I know that there's a lot of places where you might need to use like a smaller version of the logo, whether that's like a profile picture or the little favicon on the website. But having those smaller versions of the logos will give your clients a option to use something without it losing its memorability. So definitely make sure that you provide those variations. And if you haven't seen what I'm really talking about or what that means, I'll link a video right up above here that shows an actual brand design process that I've done for a past client. So that is my design tip out of these 3. But the next one has to do more with business and also your mental well-being. And that is for number 2, to not jump into graphic design if you want to do it for the money. I think I see so many people that jump into it because they think that it's going to just give them financial freedom right out the gates, because we see a lot of people online saying, I make this much money, or I charge this much. I landed a client a proposal for like $6,000-$7,000 plus dollars. So when you see that, it can get really tricky to feel like you can just jump right into it and you're going to be landing that. But if I'm being very honest and genuine with you guys, it has taken me over 6 years to really gain a clientele. And not only that, but gain the confidence in sending over high ticket proposals and being really confident behind it, because confidence and also passion behind what you're doing speaks volume to the clients that you're going to want to be working with. And if you don't have the confidence and you also are just doing it for the money and you don't really have the passion behind it, they're going to know even without you having to say that. So definitely make sure that you don't do it for the money. I mean, at the end of the day, there is a lot of success that can be had in the design world. So I'm not saying don't do it, but I think that if you are jumping into it for the money, you can face burnout. And I have faced this before in the past with myself, where I feel like stressed, where I have to say yes to so many projects to support myself financially, to the point where there's some projects that I didn't even really want to work on, but I said yes because I know financially it would have helped me. And to be honest, those projects always end a little poorly, whether that's just me and the client not vibing, or maybe the design style doesn't fit their needs, or whatever it is. Oftentimes that intuition and gut feeling about the project not being a good fit in the beginning, you should listen to those feelings, because if you just say yes for the money, you will face burnout. You will face a little chaos if it's not going well, and it can just be kind of stressful down the line. So definitely make sure that you are doing it for the right reasons, because you really want to do it. You want to wake up every morning and do what you love and design for clients you truly love, because that love and passion behind what you're doing is just going to grow, and you're just going to continue to see so much abundance, and like people are just going to be attracted to your work because you are just glowing and loving it. So definitely make sure that you're doing it for those reasons. And actually, I wanted to mention real quick that I have a freebie right now, completely free for you guys to go check out. It is a whole 20-minute little presentation and genuine chat with you all, where I talk about my journey to going from freelance to six-figure design business. I wanted to mention that right now during this point, because although I have made six figures, I really want you guys to see where I started, the key moments in my journey, and what I had to go through to get to that point in my business. So definitely go check out that freebie. I have it linked right down below this video. Don't miss it, because it won't be available for that long, because I give away a lot about my story. So definitely go check that out and let me know what you guys think. But the third tip is also about business. This is some business tips that can really help you, and I learned a lot of this the hard way. So this tip is to not start a project without a deposit and without a contract. Having those like legal sides of your business figured out and dialed in is so crucial and important. And when I first started, I had no idea where to begin with that. I think I found some like free contract online and I just built off of that. But it's funny because every single like difficult client experience I've had, or maybe a difficult business experience I've had, I've added to my contract, and I've made it so like my contract has years and years of lessons learned in there and things that I wanted to avoid happening in future projects as well. And having a contract will protect you from exceeding rounds of revisions if you do have a limit on that. It'll also protect you from how to pull out of the project if you're not happy with how the client's treating you, or maybe they have ghosted you, whatever it is that might be happening with your client. You want to have some like legal signed document that allows you to back out of that project, and also some terminology in that contract that says what it is that you should be getting paid, even if the project is canceled. So there's a lot of terminology and things that can go into that. I feel like that'd be a whole other video. If you want me to create a video on contracts, I would be happy to do that. But definitely make sure that you have that, at least have something that can protect you from situations that can happen. And on top of that is to get a deposit before you even begin. I want to make that like in all capitals, get a deposit before you begin, because in my head, I always view that deposit as like locking in that project. When I get that deposit, I know for sure that I'm working with that client, and I don't even have them on my calendar until I receive the deposit, because I would not want you guys to start designing and maybe you jump right into the strategy and you spend hours and hours on this project in the strategy portion of the branding, and you don't get financially compensated for that. Like if you send it over to the client and maybe they decide, oh, this isn't really what I wanted, and they haven't submitted a deposit, they could easily just walk away from that, especially if you don't have a contract. They could walk away from that, and that would be hours of yours that you don't get paid for. So definitely make sure to get that deposit. I always like to say that is that's like required to even be in my clientele. So definitely don't be afraid to ask for that. Everyone does it differently. Some people will charge 50% as a deposit. Me personally, I charge 25% because I feel that that is enough to lock me into that date. I also take my projects in phases and like step by step. So I like to spread the installments out throughout the project. And I actually have quite a few clients where we'll book them out a few months ahead of time and they will be paying for the project like every single month leading up to the project. So I feel like it kind of works itself out where I do end up getting like 50% before I even begin, but 25% is all that I require to lock you into that date. And then that is what I will use to send over any forms I have, any documents that are maybe like something I want to protect a little more. Once I get that deposit, I can send all those over. So definitely don't forget to get a deposit and to get a contract signed. So those are 3 really quick tips that I wanted to share with you all to not do and to not forget and to make sure that you're doing if you want to be a graphic designer or if you want to go full time with this. Maybe you're just dabbling in it and you're taking freelance clients here and there, which I think is amazing. But if you want to take this farther, definitely have those 3 steps in mind, and those 3 tips always should be implemented in my opinion. But I have learned lots of these the hard way, and I really wanted to give this information to you all so you don't have to go through those hard things like I did in the past. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If it was helpful to you, I would appreciate it so much if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more. Let me know down below in the comments if you enjoyed this video, what you learned from it. Go check out that freebie. I feel like I have so many announcements here at the end, but that freebie is I really am like so proud of it because I dived into not just my story, but also like what my first few years as a full-time designer looked like actual real life projects, what I got paid from for those projects. Like, I'm being so transparent with you guys on this little presentation. So go check that out in the bio down below this video. But thank you guys so much for being here and for watching this, and I will see you in the next one.